this away again. You can rest assured I'll always do my best for her. On that I give my word. In a world of who not deaf and men who are dying to be born, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Not a word was spoke between us. There was never risk involved. Everything up to that point had been left unresolved. Trying imagining a place where it's always safe and warm. She said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Burned out from exhaustion, buried in the head, poisoned in the bushes and blown out on the trail, hunted like a crocodile, ravaged in the corn. She said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Suddenly I turned around and she was standing there with silver bracelets on her wrists and flowers in her hair. She walked up to me so gracefully and took my crown of thorns. She said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now there's a wall between us, something has been lost. I took too much for granted and I got my signals crossed. Just to think that it all began on a very long. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Well, the deputy walks on hind hairs and the preacher takes him out. Nothing really matters much, it's doom alone that counts. And the one-eyed undertaker, he blows a funeral horn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Well, I've heard newborn babies wailing like a mockingbird. Old men with broken teeth, stranded without blood. Do I understand your question, man? Is it hopeless and forlorn? Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. In a little hilltop village, they gambled for my clothes. I bargained for salvation, and they gave me a lethal dose. I offered up my innocence, got repaid with scorn. She said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Well, I'm living in a foreign country, and I'm bound to cross the line. Beauty walks the razor's edge, someday I'll make it right. I could only die, but I can guarding her reborn. Come in, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Come in, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm.
Thank you. We are the Messy Fergusons. And introduce the band here. We have Sam on bass, Emma on keyboard, Roger on guitar, and Hannah on vocal, and John on guitar, and Anthony on guitar too. You know, I just have to break into this one second. It's a personal triumph for me. If you had the 1977 yearbook from Algonquin, there would be a picture of it with me with this guitar on stage. All right. And both of us are still alive today. I'm very thankful. Still alive.
Amen. We are so wrong.
There's something happening here, and what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I've got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going round. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the streets. They're singing songs and they're carrying signs. Mostly say, hooray for our side. I think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There are lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds, getting so much resistance from behind. I think it's stop. Yeah, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Heaven warrior strikes deep into your lives, it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. You step out of line, the man comes and takes you away. living their lives for you on TV. They say they're better than you, and you agree. He says, come hold my calls from behind these stone brick walls. Says, come here, boy, there ain't nothing for free. Another doctor's bill, a lawyer's bill, another cute, cheap thrill. You know you love him if you put him in your will, but who will save your soul when it comes to the flowers now? And who will save your soul after all those lies that you told, Lord? Who will save your soul if you won't save your own? We try to hustle them, try to cuss them, try to bust them. The cops want someone to bust on Orleans Avenue. Oh, what words.
I don't know, sing it.
So we pray to many different gods as there are flowers, but we call religion our friend. We're so worried about us saving our souls, afraid that God will take his toll, that we forget to begin saying, who will save your soul when it comes to the veterans now? Oh, save your soul after all those lies that you told, Lord. Who will save your soul if you won't save your own? Some are walking, some are talking, some are stalking their kill. You cut Social Security, but it doesn't pay your bills. There are addictions to feed, and there are mouths to pay. So we bargain with the devil, and we're okay for today. Say that you love them, take their money and run. Say it's been swell, sweetheart, but it was just one of those things, those flings, those strings you've got to cut. So get out on the streets, girls, and bust your butts. Who will save your soul when it comes to the babies now? Oh, save your soul after all those lies that you told, boy. Who will save your soul? Will save your soul if you won't save your own.
I appreciate you coming out tonight, and we'll play one more song before we bring up the main attraction.
Woohoo!
Oh, you can applaud for the main attraction. It's all right.
Yeah, let's get the main attraction out here.
You really know you
Who
don't
are
mean
these
that we're
guys?
leaving and you're applauding. So it's,
Let me try.
I lit out from Reno, I was trailed by 20 hounds. Didn't get to sleep that night till the morning came around. I said, I'd run and better take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. If I get home before daylight, I just might get some sleep tonight. Ran into the devil, baby, only 20 bills. Spent the night in Utah in a cave up in the hills. I said I'd run and better take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. If I get home before daylight, I just might get some sleep tonight. Ran down to the levee, but the devil caught me there. Took my $20 bill and vanished in the air. I said I'd run and better take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. If I get home before daylight, I just might get some sleep tonight. Got 2 reasons why I cry away each lonely night. First one's named Sweet Anne Marie, and she's my heart's delight. Second one is Prison Babe, and Sheriff's on my trail. And if he catches up with me, I'll spend my life in jail. Got a wife in Chino, babe, and one in Cherokee. First one says she got my child, but it don't look like me. I said I'd run and better take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. If I get home before daylight, I just might get some sleep tonight. Got 2 reasons why I cry away each lonely night. First one's named Sweet Anne Marie, and she's my heart's delight. Second one is Prison Babe, and the sheriff's on my trail. And if she catches up with me, I'll spend my life in jail. Got a wife in Chino, babe, and one in Cherokee. First one says she's got my child, but it don't look like me. I said I'd run and better take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. If I get home before daylight, I just might get some sleep tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. Well, that was fun. Thank you. And this is the first time we've performed under the name the Messy Fergusons. We were playing at a farm last week, and I wanted to name our band after a tractor, like Buffalo Springfield, and I think Brian Huckins said, well, you should call it Maisie Ferguson, because there was a Maisie Ferguson tractor in the field, and I said, well, somebody said, well, maybe Messy Fergusons. So that's the name. And if you see my office, you'll know why. All right, I'm going to introduce the main attraction here, and make sure they're, okay. Gotta get the name, this is like the Super Bowl, you know? I got the, all right, and I used to be able to hold this closer. All right, and would you give a warm welcome to Jed Marum and Hugh Morrison from Dallas, Texas, and Houston, Texas.
Thanks, John. Thank you. Sounded great. Oh, thank you.
I want to start with a song that I learned from my father. My father told me he learned this from his father, a fellow called Martin Little, his grandfather, sorry. And Martin was from Galway, Ireland. The song is called The Garden Where the Praties Grow, and praties are potatoes. And in 1820, when this song was written down, everybody in Ireland would have a praties garden or they couldn't make it through the winter. There's 2 more things I need to tell you about the song so it makes sense. The fellow in the song is bragging to us about his sweetheart. He tells us that she's so pretty she doesn't need to go in for all the trappings of modern day fashion.
And in 1820, that means she didn't wear the Grecian band or the hoop skirts that the ladies would wear. Nor did she wear her hair in a style that you and I might pronounce chignon, right? The French hairstyle, ladies pile the hair on top of their head in a comb. But because he's an undereducated Irishman from the country and he doesn't know better, he calls it a chignon. Have you ever been in love, me lads, and do you know the pain? Well, I'd rather be in jail myself than be in love again. This girl I loved was beautiful, I'd have you all to know. And I met her in the garden where the praties grow. Now she's just the sort of creature that nature did intend to walk throughout the world, me boys, without the Grecian bend. Nor did she wear the chignon, I'd have you all to know. And I met her in the garden where the praties grow. Saith I, my dear Kathleen, I hope you'll pardon me, but she wasn't like your city girls who'd say you're making free. She answered me right modestly, and she curtsied rather low. She said, you're welcome in the garden where the praties grow. Now she's just the sort of creature that nature did intend to walk throughout the world, me boys, without the Grecian bend. Nor did she wear the chignon, I'd have you all to know. And I met her in the garden where the praties grow. Saith I, my dear Kathleen, I'm tired of single life. And if you've no objection, sure, I'd make you my sweet wife. Says she, I'll ask my parents, and tomorrow you shall know if you'll meet me in the garden where the praties grow. Well, her parents, they consented. Now we're blessed with children 3, 2 boys just like their mother, and a girl the image of me. And now we're going to raise them up the way they ought to go. They'll be digging in the garden where the praties grow. Thank you. I was playing up in Chicago Gaelic Park. There's a great big Irish festival I have up there every year, and I was playing at one of those indoor theaters where everybody's real close to the stage and the seats are all on a steep incline, you know what I'm talking about? And I'm up in the middle of the stage, I'm into my 3rd or 4th song, and in walks this big burly Scotsman in a kilt, and he gets right about eye level with me, and he squats down, spread eagle into his seat. And it suddenly occurred to me that men are not graceful enough to wear skirts. It's a good thing we don't do it very often. But that reminds me of this song, and this is a song that answers the age-old question, what does a Scotsman wear beneath his kilt? Oh, you've heard it before. Don't give it away. Well, a Scotsman clad in kilt left the bar one evening fair, and one could tell by the way he walked that he drunk more than his share. So he staggered up until he could no longer keep his feet. Then he stumbled off to the grass to sleep beside the street. Ring ding diddle diddle daddy-o, ring da diddly-i-o. He stumbled off to the grass to sleep beside the street. Well, later on, 2 young and lovely girls just happened by, of course. And one said to the other, with a twinkle in her eye, you see on sleeping Scotsmen so bold and handsome built. Well, I wonder if it's true what they don't wear beneath their kilt. Ring ding diddle diddle daddy-o, ring da diddly-i-o. I wonder if it's true what they don't wear beneath their kilt. Well, they crept up to that Scotsman, just as quiet as could be, and they lifted up his kilt to the waist so they could see. And there for them to view, beneath the Scottish skirt, well, there was nothing more than God had graced him with upon his birth. Ring ding diddle diddle daddy-o, ring da diddly-i-o. Nothing more than God had graced him with upon his birth. Well, they marveled for a moment, but they said we'd best be gone. But let's leave our friend a present before we move along. So for a gift, they left a blue silk ribbon tied into a bow around the bonny star of the Scots kilt lifting show. Ring ding diddle diddle daddy-o, ring da diddly-i-o. Around the bonny star of the Scots kilt lifting show. Well, a Scotsman woke to nature's call, and he staggered to the trees. And he lifted up his kilt, and he gawks at what he sees. And in a startled voice he cries to what's before his eyes. He says, "Oh, lad, I don't know where you've been, but I see you've won first prize. Ring ding diddle diddle daddy-o, ring da diddle I-o. Lad, I don't know where you've been, but I see you've won first prize." There you are. Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm going to bring out my friend Hugh Morrison. Hugh comes from the north of Scotland. Yeah. Hugh and I met, and we were both playing at a festival out in Midland, Texas one year, and we decided that we enjoyed playing music together, so we look for every chance we can get to do so nowadays. Hugh lives in Houston, and I live in Dallas. So on this very stage, you have two of the most hated instruments. You've got the accordion and the banjo. The only thing we're missing is the bagpipe. Let's do the Andy M. Stewart song, the Take Her in Your Arms. Have you seen him on the corner, and his lip would reach the pavement? He's been hiding from his razor. Is he not an awful sight? In love, who was the purest, now he's frightening our tourists. If he'd only asked his father, I'm sure he'd set him right. Sing and take her in your arms, tell her that you love her. Take her in your arms, hold that woman tight. Take her in your arms, tell her that you love her. If you're going to love a woman, be sure you do it right. Well, now he met her at a disco, at a dive in San Francisco, and it might have turned out different had he seen her in daylight. She was painted, she was scented, she drove him and demented. If he'd only asked his father, I'm sure he'd set him right. Sing and take her in your arms, tell her that you love her. Take her in your arms, hold that woman tight. Take her in your arms, tell her that you love her. If you're going to love a woman, be sure you do it right. Now here's a pub with fun and laughter. The landlord's buying bevy. There's a session in the corner, and the crack is grand tonight. But your man who lost his woman, he's still at home lamenting. If he'd only asked his father, I'm sure he'd set him right. Sing and take her in your arms, tell her that you love her. Take her in your arms, hold that woman tight. Take her in your arms, tell her that you love her. If you're going to love a woman, be sure you do it right. Here's a song for all your lovers, your sisters and your brothers and your uncles and your grannies. This thing is black and white. If you're keen to start romancing with its lapping and its dancing, then go first and ask your father. I'm sure he'd set you right. Sing and take her in your arms, tell her that you love her. Take her in your arms, hold that woman tight. Take her in your arms, tell her that you love her. If you're going to love a woman, be sure you do it right. Thank you. Thanks very much. Do the Brian McNeil song. Did you watch the time? What we're trying to do is do two 45-minute sets with a half an hour break in between. Does that sound okay? Sort of a... And we got a lot of songs to play, so... We're going to play them all fast. I got a good friend named Brian McNeil, and Brian is a monster in the world of Celtic folk music. He's a very, very fine fiddler and songwriter and genuine character, actually. And Brian and I were supposed to meet up in Toronto to do an album back in 2004. And I was in New Orleans, and he was going up to Toronto to play a festival up there in Goderich, Ontario. And I ended up staying in New Orleans an extra week, and I missed my opportunity to meet him at the studio. So we did our recording together through the magic of him working in Scotland and me in Toronto. But next time I ran into him, he said, "Oh, I got a song for you. I wrote this song the day we were supposed to be in the studio, and you got to sing this song." And this song will give you an idea what Brian was doing at the festival. It goes by pretty quick, though, and it's in a bit of Scottish dialect, so hope it makes sense. As I lay a-sleepin', and the dawn light came creepin', and the Lake Huron winds came a-whisperin' by, saying the bells of Ontario were women to be wary o', with their honey gold locks and their fine roving eye. Ah, they're divas and dancers, they're connoisseurs of chancers, they're as brazen as their bra and as bonny as they're bold. And they'll turn a man's flirtation to debate and disputation, keep a fiddler laddie handy to look deep into their souls. I'd walk 100 miles, I'd walk 100 more to see the bells of Ontario walking by the shore. Try singing that with us. I'd walk 100 miles, and I'd walk 100 more to see the bells of Ontario walking by the shore. I didn't hear you. But you get a couple more chances. They'll marshal their enjoyment with the general's deployment and the charms nature gave them to entice and ensnare. And they'll calculate by fractions every power of attraction, drive the lads to full distraction with the tossing of their hair. Ah, they're cool and they're collected, and they like themselves reflected in a keek and glass or passing laddie's eye for all to see. And they'll take their due with pleasure at their cool collected leisure, and to make yon butter melt would take a braver man than me. I'd walk 100 miles, I'd walk 100 more to see the bells of Ontario walking by the shore. Are you singing? Here we go. I'd walk 100 miles, I'd walk 100 more to see the bells of Ontario walking by the shore. Play with me. So come all you rabble rousers, you buxom body houses, and give yourself a ray of conceit to be a ladies' man. For if you're inclined to ramble, put your manhood to the gamble, take the road up to Godrich with your heart in your hand. Just be ready for the ructions when you're tested to destruction by a creature that you know that's worth twice her weight in sin. Ah, she might consent to kiss ya, or to smile and then dismiss ya, and leave it to the mercy of the Lake Huron winds. I'd walk 100 miles, I'd walk 100 more to see the bells of Ontario walking by the shore. Last chance. I'd walk 100 miles, I'd walk 100 more to see the bells of Ontario walking by the shore. Thank you. Now, don't be shy. If you were a little bit shy about not singing too loud, you get a few more chances tonight, so we'll try it again. You want to introduce Sans? And I can...
This next song that we're going to do is from an album that myself and Jed worked on last year. We recorded it in Dallas, and it's called Sands of Aberdeen. It's a song that Jed wrote himself. He had a little bit of help with me with some of the pronunciations of the words, but we didn't fall out too much over it, so the song made it on the record, and it's actually the title track, so we'll give it a try.
I read the diary of a young fellow who was a Scottish sea captain back in 1830, and he'd fill up his ship with sailors from England and Ireland and Scotland, and they'd sail over and wait for the ice to break up in the northeast, sail into one of the islands around Labrador, and they'd fish the entire season, and they'd dry and salt cod and salmon, and they'd catch beaver and seal, and they'd cure the pelts and so forth. They'd fill up their ship. Well, in his diary, he said one year the weather was very kind to them, and they had a particularly warm fall, and they didn't have to leave as early. And so they left a good 6 or 8 weeks after they'd normally be home. And he put down in his diary that, he knew his wife would think that she was a widow. So I got to thinking about what that might be as a song. And then I was working in New Orleans, and I was at this place that had this sort of walkway right over the stage. And it was a small room. It was, anybody been down to the French Quarter and see a place down there called O'Flaherty's Irish Channel? It's a wonderful place owned by my friend Danny O'Flaherty. But anyway, I was in there playing, and I was singing this song, and I heard footsteps going over my head and over to where the sound gear was over here. Now, I've got the key on my neck to this locked gangway, that goes over my head. So I looked up to see who was there, and there was nobody there. And the next morning, I start telling the story to the woman who was the manager of the bar, and she said, "Don't say another word. I know what song you were playing. You were playing Red as the Rose, weren't you?" And I was floored, because, I was playing Red as the Rose. She said, "Red as the Rose is Angelique's song, and Angelique is the ghost who inhabits the upstairs bar." And she's been seen or heard or otherwise experienced when that song is played. Well, I got to admit that at best, I'm agnostic about ghosts, but it did make me think. And I thought, there's my footsteps, there's my ghost story. And I wrote this song. Gray and blue while I wait for you all along the South Breakwater. Overdue, how I long for you, I long to see you sail. May the cold North Sea bring you home to me. I am my mother's daughter. From that foreign shore, frozen Labrador, home to Curtin Bay. Every night I hear footsteps climbing up my stair. You kiss my cheek and I awaken. I speak your name, but you're not there. Time wears away, wearing day by day. Are you still among the living? Months have been since you should have seen the golden signs of Aberdeen. Every night I hear footsteps climbing up my stair. You kiss my cheek and I awaken. I speak your name, but you're not there. Time wears away, still I wait and pray all along the South Breakwater. I watch for you, how I long for you, I long for your embrace. Every night I hear your footsteps climbing up my stair. You kiss my cheek and I awaken. I speak your name, but you're not there. Every night I hear your footsteps climbing up my stair. You kiss my cheek and I awaken. I speak your name, but you're not there. Thank you. Thanks very much. I was playing up in Cambridge this summer And I very often do a festival up in New York that brings me up this part of the country, and I always try to come up to the Boston area if I can when I do that. And I was playing in Cambridge, and Susan Halpin, who introduced the evening, started the evening off, was there and asked me if I would come and play at this event for this fundraiser, and I was thrilled to be asked and very happy to do so. And we also had a chance to come and play for the school. I write some historical music. I have a keen interest in the American Civil War. Well, you all know that I grew up in this area. I think you do. I grew up, and I went to this school, graduated in 1970. And yeah, that part was easy. My wife and I moved to Texas back in '86, and I guess we grew roots down there. But it was nice to be back here, and we got a chance to play for the history classes. I had 3 different classes on Thursday this week, and that was a thrill. And then Hugh came in. When did you come in? Thursday night. And yesterday we went and played for 3 of the music classes, so we just had a great time. It was a whole lot of fun. Who was there? Any of the kids there? Are they here tonight? Most of them have had enough by now. You want to introduce the tune set? Okay. Which are the jigs? Do I know those?
We're going to do 3 jigs. They're in A, D, and G for Jed's sake.
Can I be taking notes?
I do see there is some room down the bottom here if any of you feel like doing a wee jig. We didn't hear you singing, so. Thanks very much. Those were 3 jigs I actually wrote myself. The first one I wrote for my little boy Aidan, who's now 4 years old, Sometimes I wonder why I ever wrote him a tune. The second one was for my accordion teacher back in Scotland, Ali McGregor, and that was called Ali McGregor's Jig. And the third one was to celebrate, if it's something to celebrate, I'm not too sure, but to celebrate 10 years in Texas, I wrote the third one and I called it Made in Texas. So there you go, that's the 3 jigs you heard.
Growing up in New England as I did, and when I came back here, the first time I came back here, I'd been away for maybe 3 years, and just landing into Logan, the long, slow ride, and I just looking down at and I'm going, oh, that's the way the world's supposed to look. It's so beautiful, when we grow up with it. Yeah, it's true. And I got to tell you, it took a long time to appreciate the beauty, especially of West Texas, where it's just, tumbleweeds and oil wells. But I'd been playing a bunch of places out in New Mexico and Arizona, and I was coming back and finished up in Midland, Texas. And it was a Monday morning, and I was driving home, and it was just a glorious, beautiful day. And it suddenly began to understand that even this part of the world has some beauty to it. And it's okay to tell this story now that I'm out of Texas.
I feel the same way.
And I wrote this song. If I could fly, I know that I would ride on that West Texas wind, spiraling high, over and back again, out on a West Texas wind. For thousands and thousands of miles I'd roam, my feet never touching the ground. But I know through and through I'd come back home to you, right in the West Texas wind. Sunlight and sky, eagles on high, upon on the West Texas wind. Morning birds cry, song in reply, upon on the West Texas wind. The morning light carries me miles from home. My shadow slips over the ground. But I fly straight and true. I come back home to you, born on the West Texas wind. Ever-widening sky before me, and the West Texas wind carries me home. If I could fly, I know that I would ride on that West Texas wind, spiraling high, over and back again, out on a West Texas wind. For thousands and thousands of miles I'd roam, my feet never touching the ground. But I know through and through I'd come back home to you, right into West Texas wind. A smile faded true, I'd come back home to you, right in a West Texas wind. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, look, a couple more. That was in tune when I bought it. I don't know what's going on
You try to tune it to the squeeze box.
here. When Hugh and I made that album last year, we made it with a good friend of ours named Mason Brown. And Mason is a really fine Irish traditional guitar player, and he plays banjo beautifully as well. And partisu viol. And partisu viol is that sort of lap fiddle. You know, you play it upright, sitting up like this in your lap, and bow it this way. It's got 6 strings and frets. And it's a Baroque instrument. Anyway, what was the point of that story? I lost the thread here. Anyway, let's play a couple of our pub songs. Well, I met my love by the gasworks wall. I dreamed a dream, mighty hoped and down. I kissed my girl by the factory wall. Dirty old town, dirty old town. The clouds are drifting across the moon. The cats are prowling on night. There springs a girl from the streets at night. Dirty old town, dirty old town. Well, I heard the sirens from the docks. I watched the train set the night on fire. I smelled the spring on a smoky wind. Dirty old town, dirty old town. Well, I'm going to make me big sharp axe, shining steel, tempered into fire, and I'll chop you down like an old dead tree. Dirty old town, dirty old town. Yeah, or 2. Thank you. What time do you have? We'll do 2 more and we'll take a break. I never could color in between the lines. Well, we got some friends that are going to join us in the second set here, and really enjoyed John Fray's. What was it? The Messy Fergusons. Great stuff. I love your singer. She's a very fine singer. I had to look, say, who is that? Is that girl that's out there? She's too young to sing that. Let's do Foggy Dew. This is one of my favorite. This is an Irish rebel song. Commemorates the 1916 Easter Rebellion. You and I do a lot of the Celtic music venues, as you haven't already guessed. And this is one of my favorites from that period. It was down the glen one Easter morn to city fair rode I. There Ireland's lines of marching men in squadrons passed me by. No pipe did hum and no battle drum did sound its dread tattoo, but the angel's bell or the liffey swell rang out in the foggy dew. Right proudly high over Dublin town they hung out a flag of woe. For 'twas better to die 'neath an Irish sky than at Suvla-ho-Sud-el-Bar. And from the plains of Royal Meath strong men came hurrying through, while Britannia's sons and their long-range guns sailing through the foggy dew. It was England bid our wild geese go, that small nations might be free. Their lonely graves are by Suvla's waves, on the fringe of that grey North Sea. But had they died at Pierce's side, or fought with evil era too, their graves we would keep where the Fenians sleep, beneath the hill of that foggy dew. Oh, the bravest fell, and the requiem bell rang mournfully and clear. For those who died that Easter tide in the springing of the year, while the world did gaze in deep amaze at those fearless men and few who bore the fight that freedom's light might shine in the foggy dew. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to do one more song, and he was going to be back in the second set, and we have some other friends that are going to come up and sing for you as well. We're going to take a short break for, 20, 30 minutes, and hope you'll go back and partake of the wonderful baked goods, and you might even look at some CDs while you're here. But I want to sing a song for you. I did an album of, I've done 2 albums of Civil War songs and stories and music. And the last one is an album called Cross Over the River, and it's a collection of Confederate stories that I found inspiring from my reading of history. And there's lots of songs about battles and all of that sort of things, but I realized when I was putting that album together that it wasn't all just sadness and grief. People still went to parties, people still met, boys and girls still met at parties, and they danced and they fell in love and they got married and they had babies, and all those things still went on. Thank goodness. And so I wanted to write a little bit about that as well. And in this song, a couple of some of the young fellows who were Irish soldiers, Irish immigrants living in Alabama, were passing through the Carolinas, and this is a song about a party. And I was playing this up in New York a little while ago, and my wife Louisa was with me. And this band was playing the song, and she came running outside, and she goes, "Oh, did you hear they played Come Back Katie?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you think?" She said, "They played it better than you." And of course, I was thrilled. I grinned from ear to ear, because they did. Anyway, it goes like this. Come back, Katie, Kevin, Benjamin, and Brady, and the boys from Alabama. Know you're looking for a mister, better run and tell your sister, but don't you tell your mama. You know you look so fine when they're marching in the line, and a dance even finer than the boys of Carolina. Come back, Katie, get your best dress on, the Bama boys in town. Come back, Katie, Kevin, Benjamin, and Brady sitting out on my veranda. Sing the shamrock and the thistle and playing on the whistle, toot the fiddle and the banjo. Gonna make some noise with the Alabama boys, gonna dance to the mama like I never do sorrow. Come back, Katie, get your best dress on, the Bama boys in town. Yeah, come back, Katie, Kevin, Benjamin, and Brady, and the Alabama Wild Geese. They were born in Connemara, but they're leaving town tomorrow, and they're gonna fight the Yankees. Gonna dance and sing, make a whole night ring, make a rackle and a rattle for a send off to battle. Come back, Katie, get your best dress on, the Bama boys in town. Come back, Katie, get your best dress on, the Bama boys in town. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll take a break. We're going to turn up the house lights, and Hugh and I are going to go out back there, and we'll be happy to talk to you and ask questions, answer questions, and all that sort of thing. So we'll be back soon. Thanks. Check. Check. See if yours is working.
Check, 1, 2.
Well, if you didn't sing in the first half, you're going to get a chance to do it the next couple here. This is one of those cheerful Irish songs about emigration. It has a repeatable chorus and a memorable chorus. Some of you will know it. All of you will know it before long. In 1803 we sailed out to sea, out from the sweet town of Derry. We were Australia bound if we didn't all drown, and the marks of our fetters we carried. In the rusty iron chains we cried for our wains, our sweet wives we left there in sorrow. As the mainsails unfurled, our curses were hurled on the English and thoughts of tomorrow. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. I cursed them to hell as our bow fought to swell, and our ship danced like a moth in the firelight. White horses rode high as the devil passed by, taking souls to Hades by twilight. 5 weeks out to sea, we were down to 43. Our comrades we buried each morning. We were in our own slime and lost in a time endless night without dawning. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Now Van Diemen's Land is a hell for a man to live out his life there in slavery. Where the gun makes the law and the climate is raw, neither wind nor rain, careful bravery. 20 years have gone by and I've ended my bond, and my comrades ghosts walk beside me. A rebel I came and I'll die just the same. On the cold wind of night you will find me. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Thank you. Were you singing? Yeah, right. We're going to do even more pretty soon, so. Well, I was telling somebody earlier on the break about growing up in Boston and moving to Texas, and that's when I discovered I was a Yankee. But in truth, it sparked, what was that? That's right. No, that's right. Those are the worst kind. But it actually spurred my interest in the American Civil War, and right around that time, Ken Burns had that wonderful thing on PBS, The Civil War, and I watched every episode. In fact, I probably watched it 100 times since, and maybe sometimes just for the music, which I also loved. But I started doing some reading, and I came across the story of some young fellows who were from Ireland. Now, of course, I've always known that many Irish immigrants fought in the American Civil War, and these guys, you know, were brand new immigrants to this country and wanted to prove that they were going to be valuable citizens, and they truly believed in American ideals, and they joined in great numbers in the early days of the war. Later on, of course, they were drafted, but in the early days they participated willingly. And but it also happened in the South, and I came across the story of a group of young fellows who were from New Orleans, but they were all born in Ireland. And they were part of the Army of Louisiana, which became to be known the Fighting Tigers. That's where the name for LSU comes from if you watch college football. But anyway, I wrote this song about them. Let me tell you a tale of those brave Irish boys from the 6th Louisiana. From New Orleans to Richmond and back again, they fought and died for a Dixieland. Led by young Henry Strong, who at Sharpsburg fell. He was proud and Irish born. And then old Colonel Billy Monahan, he gave his life at Shepherdstown. They were Irish born, they were heroes all, and they fought for Louisiana. From New Orleans to Richmond and back again, the Fighting Tigers of Ireland. Play one here. When old Billy Monahan sounded the call back in 1861, every Irish lad joined him one and all to keep those Yankees back in Washington. They were Irish born, they were heroes all, and they fought for Louisiana. From New Orleans to Richmond and back again, the Fighting Tigers of Ireland. Let's play it together. Old Republic and Bristol and Fredericksburg. Many valiant and good men gone. They fought with honor and courage at Gettysburg, and they reached the gates of Washington. They followed Jackson and Early and Master Lee, and the fiercest in all the land. Honest old Marshal Roberts and Grant agreed were the men from the 6th Louisiana. They were Irish, and they were heroes all, and they fought for Louisiana. From New Orleans to Richmond and back again, the fighting tigers of Ireland, the fighting tigers of Ireland. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to get you to sing on this one, I'm sure. I was playing at a pub up in Kansas City. It's a lovely place. Actually, it's in Weston, Missouri. And it's in an old brewery, and it's well down below ground. And the place was packed. You know, there's 200 people in this place, and everybody's drinking hard and chatting hard and listening with one ear. And it was 12 o'clock at night, and for some reason I just got a wild hair and started playing this song, and everybody sang along. And we'll see if that happens to you too. And we got somebody joining us here to sing. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Well, I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. It was a band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Sing it with us. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Now the river Jordan is muddy and deep, coming for to carry me home. It makes a wise man cry and a sinner man weep, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Acapella. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Coming for to carry me home. Coming for to carry me home. Thank you. Thank you. For some of you folks who've been around here for a while, you'll know that that was Mr. Cronin. I still have a hard time calling him Neil Cronin, joining us on the chorus there. And I didn't introduce our new player. This is my good friend, Bill Nelson. Bill and I used to play together football in years gone by, and then in music later on. So we're going to do one more song, and we're going to bring Mr. Cronin back afterwards to sing some more for you. While he's setting up, we'll start this song. And this is a song that I wrote. My dad sent me a book. Anybody read Patrick O'Brien? You know who I'm talking about? The fellow who wrote Master and Commander, the movie that Russell Crowe made. And in this book, it's in the Napoleonic War era, and it's England's job to sack all of the ships of their rival countries, Spain and France and Holland and that sort of thing. And they're really good at their job. And they're transporting prisoners from England and Ireland down to Botany Bay, down to Australia, actually. And it's their job, as I said, to sack all the ships. And they're really good at this job, but sure enough, they run into a Dutch ship that's equal to the task and chases them into Antarctica. And I'll tell you that nobody ever writes a song about a ship that doesn't sink. My name is Liam Devon. In Galway I was born. In 1807, to the English crown I was sworn. I sailed with Captain Aubrey in the prime of his bold career. A terror to all rival trade, some say privateer. With Cockney, Moore, and Irish lads, we made a handsome crew. Our ship was called the Leopard, and their officers brave and true. Our strength at sea was matched by few, and we made our way without fear. A terror to all rival trade, some say privateer. And low moans the wind, the cold Antarctic wind. Low moans the wind, the cold Antarctic wind. We were well below the Southern Cross and bound for Botany Bay, with a score of Irish prisoners and the bounty sacks on the way. Sail ho, the lookout cried, 3 miles off to the larboard side. That's when Matthew Wheaton met our match. The Dutchman walks and hide, and low moans the wind, the cold Antarctic wind. Low moans the wind, the cold Antarctic wind. Ah, well, we turned and we ran before the wind in a race straight toward the pole. The buxom hide was thrice our size, and her captain bold as our own. For 4 long days we ran from her, till the mountainous sea grew high. That's when Matthew Wheaton met our watch the Dutchman walks and hide, and no moans a wind, the cold and Arctic wind. No moans a wind, the cold and Arctic winds. Play one. Well, the Dutchman close to 1,000 yards and let her cannon roar. We taken damage for a nap. Captain Aubrey was wounded sore, but with one blessed shot we smashed her mast, and the Dutchman rolled hard on her beam. And with all brave hands she sank beneath the cold and Arctic sea. And no moans a wind, the cold and Arctic wind. No moans a wind, the cold and Arctic wind. This one we learned today. Neil Cronin. He's responsible for my love of Shakespeare. I never admitted that when I was going to school here, but I guess you were one of the few teachers that could actually make me do my homework, so.
Oh, how about that?
So that's what taught me.
Mr. Mead?
Oops. I was watching a TV show called The History Detectives on PBS. Has anybody seen the show? You know what I'm talking about? You got any PBS fans? A few. And in the premise of the program is that you write in and say, my uncle has this telescope in his closet, and it's family lore says that it used to belong to Jean Lafitte, and so they take the object and they go and look it up and that sort of thing. It's kind of an interesting show. Well, rumor has it that the Charles W. Morgan, which is America's most prolific whaling bark, the whaling ship, sailed into the 1920s actually, active as a whaler. Had, when it was in its very early days, runaway slaves working on board. Now, in 1858, when this actually happened, and it did happen, this was highly illegal. If you were the ship's captain, is this on? Yes. And the ship's owner, you might well have gone to jail if you'd been caught. So these guys didn't do this as a matter of economics. This was a matter of conscience. They were abolitionists. A very interesting story, and when I decided I wanted to, there's a couple things I need to explain so it makes sense. A boat steerer is a fellow who starts the kill on the whale. That's a position of great importance on the boat. He throws the harpoon and sinks the harpoon, and then he runs back and grabs the rudder during the Nantucket sleigh ride. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Well, let's see if the story tells itself. Neil's going to join me on singing. We're going to trade verses. And when I wrote this song, I decided to use a lovely old Irish melody. It's in A. And an Irish melody that you might remember as the Patriot Game. Life on the bark, boys, is better than hell. Charles W. Morgan, I remember her well. So fill up my glass, boys, I'll tell you my tale. I came to New Bedford to hunt for the whale.
Upon a thicket, my journey's been long. On a Georgia plantation, in slavery I was born.
but 20 when I made my mark on the log of the Morgan, a fine rolling bark. The captain, a friend or two, lay on the ground grave. When I came to the Bedford to hunt for the whale. It kills boys and runaway steals, but the African slaves born to work and die in the fields. For my sins I just ran, boys, with no bill of sale, till I came to New Bedford to hunt for the whale. Do an instrumental.
It's good to hear and weary shore. The nation was torn by a great civil war, but a bold proclamation and the Union prevailed. Still stayed in New Bedford to hunt for the whale. Waiting life's hard, boys, but it's the best that I've known. A poor man's just a man, boys, and sea life's his own. For 43 years now, through the calm and the gale, I stayed in New Bedford to hunt for the whale. The next song is a song that Jed thought would be appropriate for the occasion. The Serenity Garden has a very easy chorus, and also the song itself has repetition within it. The chorus is, when I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. I don't want you to grieve after me. And this garden, which memorializes the Murphy sisters, Shauna and Megan, Dennis Wren, Gene Arethusic, Virginia Davidson, all Algonquin family, so to speak. We just hope that they are in peace. And peace obviously is not as easy for those who remain behind, but as General MacArthur said, live every day of your life as though you expect it to be a day that is the first of a long period of time, of forever time almost. And Billy Joel had a good answer when his daughter asked him, where do dead people go when they die? Well, his answer, and I guess he wrote a song about it, they go into the hearts of those who love them. So as we sing this song, and I say we, because I hope you'll sing along, it's indeed.
I remember. We cheated. We rehearsed a little bit this afternoon.
When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. I don't want you to grieve after me. falling and the thunder starts to roar. When the stars are falling and the thunder starts to roar. When the stars are falling and the thunder starts to roar, I don't want you to grieve after me.
I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. No, I don't want you to grieve after me.
Every lonely river must go home to the sea. Every lonely river must go home to the sea. Every lonely river must go home to the sea. I don't want you to grieve after me. When
I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. No, I don't want you to grieve after me.
When I do cross over, don't you grieve after me. When I do cross over, don't you grieve after me. When I do cross over, don't you grieve after me. I don't want you to grieve after me.
When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When I'm on my journey, don't you grieve after me. When you want you to grieve after me. Okay.
The funds that are raised for the garden, the plans are up there in the lobby. We used to beautify it, the walkways, trees, shrubs, and of course a bridge, which would be significant enough. So we're very glad that you are here tonight. And the next song I sang on this stage back in probably 1991 or so. I was telling Jed I didn't want to sing it. It was a student faculty variety show, and probably 600 students out there, and I was not one of the favorite people of the student body. Matter of fact, I had a parent call me one night, not call me, but we were at a meeting, and she said, I'm going to insult you now. You're a mean and nasty, vicious old man. And I said to her, you know, I really don't find that insulting at all. That's pretty much my character. But anyway, I asked my students the next day if they were with me, what would they have said if they had heard somebody say that. And Brett Bechtel, I still remember, this young man said, that sounds like you. But anyway, this song is magic, and I do hope you'll sing along. We won't sing the chorus between verses 2 and 3, but we'll sing 2 choruses at the end. And when I got out here on that night, very nervous, but once I started singing, even though 600 people could be transformed by the magic of this song, Peter, Paul, and Mary, and of course, Mary just died recently, so a little bit of remembrance for that. And it's called Puff, the Magic Dragon. Puff,
The magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff, brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. Oh, Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea, frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea, and frolicked in the autumn mist, a land called Honolulu.
Together they would travel on a boat with billow sail. Jackie kept a lookout perched on Puff's gigantic tail. Noble kings and princes would bow whenever they came. Pirate ships would lower their flag when Puff roared out his name. Oh,
Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea, and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea, and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu.
the dragon lives forever, but not so little boys. Painted wings and giant rings make way for other toys. One gray night it happened, Jackie Paper came no more. Puff, that mighty dragon, he ceased his fearless roar. His head was bent in sorrow, green scales fell like rain.
Puff no longer went to play along in Cherry Lane. Without his lifelong friend, Puff could not be brave.
For Puff, that mighty dragon, sadly slipped into his cave. Oh,
Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea, and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea, and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu.
Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea, and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu.
Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea, and frolicked in the autumn mist
In a land called Honolulu.
Neil Cronin.
Thank you very much. I sent out an email the other day we have a faculty staff reunion luncheon coming up, and of course a lot of the people, faculty who are retired might have known Jed. And in the last paragraph I said he's a folk singer with a Celtic twinge. And I sent that message off and pressed the button, I saw the twinge. So I sent out another email saying, lest you think I'm going to be singing with him, it's Celtic tinge. However, the twinge did make it after all. Thank you.
Neil Cronin. Well, we're going to move things along and sing our favorite hanging song for you today. There's a wonderful tradition in Celtic music to make the most joyful of hanging songs. And this is about a young fellow named Macpherson. Farewell, ye dungeons dark and strong. Farewell, farewell to thee. Macpherson's rent will ne'er be long. On yon woman's treacherous, and that I was condemned to die. Beneath a window on the ledge she stood, and a blanket threw over me. Say rantingly, say wantonly, say daltonly gaiety. He played a tune and danced around beneath the gallows tree. Release these bands from off my hands and give to me a sword. There's nae a man in all Scotland, I'll brave him at a word. Say rantingly, say wantonly, say dauntingly gaiety. He played a tune and danced around beneath the gallows tree. Now there's some that come to see me hang, and some to buy my fiddle. But before that I would part with her, I'll brack her through the middle. Say rantingly, say wantonly, say dauntingly gaiety. He played a tune and danced around beneath the gallows tree. Say rantingly, say wantonly, say dauntingly gaiety. He played a tune and danced around beneath the gallows tree. Let me get some more. Thank you very much. Now, wasn't that the happiest hanging song you've heard all day? I had the good fortune. I was playing at the Texas Scottish Festival, and I was part of the opening show and big tent area outdoor festival, and there's some of the finest fiddle players in the world that participate there. There's a fellow named John Taylor, and these are all Scottish fiddlers, Alistair Fraser, Brian McNeil, and I was playing that song up there all by myself, and next thing I know, up comes Brian McNeil and Alistair Fraser playing their fiddles and on either side of me, and it just raised the roof off the tent. It was a thrill. Great fun. Good one for the dancers. What more should I sing you of Roman or Greek, or the boys who here tell a loving story? Come match me for fighting, for frolic or freak, an Irishman's reign in his glory. For Ajax and Hector and bold Agamemnon were up to the tricks of the trade. Oh, but the rollicking boys for war ladies and noise, the boys of the Irish Brigade. What more should I sing you of Helen of Troy, or the mischief that came of her flirting? There's Biddy McClinchy, the bride of Fermoy, twice as much of a Helen, that's certain. Then for Venus, so famous, so Queen Cleopatra, bad luck to the word should be said. Oh, but the rollicking boys for old ladies and noise, the boys of the Irish Brigade. Play it all the way through. What more should I sing you of classical fun, or the games, whether Grecian or Persian? Show the chorus the place where the knowing one's done, and mallow that flogs for diversion. For fighting, for drinking, for ladies and all, no time like our time it was made. Oh, but the rollicking boys for ladies and noise, the boys of the Irish Brigade. For fighting, for drinking, for ladies and all, no time like our time it was made. Oh, but the rollicking boys for ladies and noise, the boys of the Irish Brigade.
Okay, we did hear the request for Hanging the Irishman. I'm pretty pleased to do that because we started off with Hanging the Scotsman, which doesn't really fall too well with me. But we will save the best to last. Hanging, that is. Very easy chorus, I think.
Yeah. Oh, see the faithful host of men, whose feet with faces one. From Barnstead and from Fisher's Cot, along the banks of Bond, they come with vengeance in their eyes to later day. And young Ronnie McCorley goes to die on the bridge of Doom today. Now the narrow streets he steps, smiling, proud and young. About the hemp rope on his neck, the golden ringlets clung. There's a tear in his blue eye, both clear and bright are they. And young Ronnie McCorley goes to die on the bridge of Doom today. Now when he last stepped up that street, his shining pike in hand, behind him marched in grim array the stalwart earnest band. For Antrim town he led them to the fray. And young Ronnie McCorley goes to die on the bridge of Doom today. Now there's never a one of all your dead more bravely fell and free than he who marches to his fate on a bridge of doom today. True to the last, he treads the upward way. And young Roddy McCordy goes to die on the bridge of doom today. Yes, young Roddy McCordy goes to die on the bridge of doom today. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I think we're nearing the end of our program here. Quarter to what? Quarter to 10? No. What time is it? I don't believe this guy.
I would have told him the truth if he'd hung the Irishman first.
We've really got time for a couple more songs, and is that okay? Okay. What's that? Break out the Guinness. What would you like to hear? I'm hearing shouts back there. What's that? Freebird. If I leave here tomorrow, that's all the song I know. You won't believe how often that gets asked for. We've got Tommy. Okay. Oh, you've heard that one, have you? I can do Tommy. I can't do the San Patricios. I've been asked to rewrite a song for a play that was about the San Patricios, and I'm afraid I don't remember it because I stopped playing it, I guess. Well, you had a chance to do Star of the County, didn't you? This is a song that tells a story about my father told me about my great-grandfather leaving Ireland. My great-grandfather was very concerned about his family back in Ireland during the time of the Black and Tans in 1920, and subsequently during the Civil War in Ireland. I wrote this shortly after I got to Dallas, and I have to tell you, there's no point when you live in Dallas of telling people that you come from Northborough, because they haven't a clue, so I always just say Boston. The land was rich in beauty, magic and song, but it was hard to raise a family working someone else's farm. So we kissed our mom and sisters. Dad, he gave us fair with me brothers Sean and Michael. I left them standing there so long ago. We worked a time in England and we sent a bit back home, but Michael took to drinking and in 2 years he was gone. I moved on to Boston when Sean joined the Fusiliers, and I haven't seen the others for 35 years to the day. Look ahead now, Tommy, in Boston life is kind, and you can build a better world than the one I left behind. Look ahead now, Tommy, oh, and don't forget your name. It's a tribute to the land from which we came. In Galway and Kilkenny, where our friends and cousins many since 1920 have been war-torn by the day. In a land rife with troubles, we often share their struggles in our hearts and in our prayers. Your grandmother and me every day. Look ahead now, Tommy, in Boston life is kind, and you can build a better world than the one I left behind. Look ahead now, Tommy, oh, and don't forget your name. Is a tribute to the land from which we came. in Galway and Kilkenny, when this fighting dies away and peace returns to Ireland, so many miles away. Count your blessings in the new world and tell your children of their start. Oh, and take me back to Ireland, if it's only in your heart one day. Look ahead now, Tommy, in Boston life is kind, and you can build a better world than the one I left behind. Look ahead now, Tommy, oh, and don't forget your name is a tribute to the land from which we came.
Thank you. Thanks so much. All right, we're getting into encore time. This is our encore. We've got a couple that we're going to do for you. We'll do one up tempo, and then we'll bring some voices back. Well, I wanted to do Star of the County Down, but all right. Introduce it so I can fix it.
Okay. We're going to do a song that is on the Sands of Aberdeen CD, and it's called The Star of County Down. And if any of you are familiar with YouTube, when you look up Jed Marum and Star of County Down, you'll see his very own Star of County Down on there. His lovely wife Lou, he's imposed her onto his YouTube video channel with this song. So
she usually makes me take the pictures down too.
They're Bainbridge Town in the county down, one morning in late July. Down a Boreen Green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. Oh, she looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing elf that I shook myself to be sure I was standing there. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay and Galway to Dublin town, no maid have seen like a sweet Colleen that I met in the county down. She unexpected, I shook my head and I stood with a feeling queer. And I says I to a passer-by, who's a maid with a nut brown hair. Oh, he smiled at me and replied, says he, that's a gem of old Ireland's crown. Young Rosie McGann from the banks of the Bann and the Star of the County Down. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay, Galway to Dublin town. No maid have seen like a sweet Colleen that I met in the County Down. Traveled a bit, but I never was hit since the moment could here began. But fair and square, I surrendered there to the charms of a Rose McCann. I'd a heart to let the lieutenant, yet did I meet in the shawl or gown. For in she went, and I asked no rent from the Star of the County Down. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay and Galway to Dublin town, no maid have seen like a sweet Colleen that I met in the County Down. Fair, I'll be shooty there and I'm dressed in my Sunday clothes. And I try sheep's eyes and a lowering eyes on the heart of the nush round house. No pipe I'll smoke, no horse I'll yoke, for the rust on my plough turns brown. Till my own fireside sits a smiling bride, Star of the County Down. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay and Galway to Dublin town, no maid has seen like a sweet Colleen that I met in the County Down. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay, Galway to Dublin town, no maid has seen like a sweet Colleen that I met in the County Down.
Thank you. All right, this is our last one, and we want to thank you all very much. It's been a thrill being here, I must tell you. And I'm thrilled at the turnout. Thank you all very much for coming and supporting this wonderful benefit event and listening to our music. We're going to end with one of those cheerful Irish songs. Can we get Neil Cronin and Bill Nelson to come on back up? John Fraser, are you still here? We can have him. They don't know what we're going to do yet, so. One each, yeah. Okay, you can do it together. It has a chorus that goes like this.
Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Everybody try that. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Raised on songs and stories, heroes of renown, are the passing tales and glories that once was Dublin town. Hallowed halls and houses, haunting children's rhymes, that once was Dublin City in the rare old times. Here we go. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare old time. My name it is Sean Dempsey, as Dublin as can be, born hard and late in Pimlico, in a house that ceased to be. By trade I was a cooper, lost out to redundancy, like my house that fell to progress. By trade's a memory. I courted Peggy Dignan, as pretty as you please, a rogue and child of Mary, from rebel liberties. I lost her to a student's chap with skin as black as coal, and when he took her off to Birmingham, she took away my soul. Here we go. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the night declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Again. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the night declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. And the whiskey dimmed my brain, but Dublin keeps on changing, and nothing stays the same. The pillar and the mat have gone, and the royal are since pulled down, as a grey unyielding concrete makes the city of my town. Fare thee well, sweet Hannah Liffey, I can no longer stay and watch the new glass cages that spring up along the quay. My mind's too full of memories, too old to hear new chimes. I'm a part of what was Dublin in the rare old times. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the night declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Last time. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the night declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare
Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it. We're going to put up our instruments. We'll be up in the back. We'd love to say goodbye to you on the way out, so please stop and say hello, and thanks again for coming. Appreciate it.